Philadelphia's injury concerns took a sneaky positive turn over the weekend as new videos revealed that their prize offseason addition is going to be ready to go for day one of camp. Plus, Bryce Huff speaks on leaving the Birds as his replacement shines from the shadows. Oh, and Nick Sirianni has done it once again, all while the Birds' Super Bowl rings face yet another setback. I'm Thomas Mott, this is a Thomas Mott Show. My final video last week finished with an update on the Eagles' championship ring ceremony that's been delayed until July 18th, where they cited unknown reasons for why they postponed the most fun night of the offseason for the Super Bowl 59 champs. Well, now we officially know why the early June date was postponed nearly 2 months. NBC Sports' Philadelphia cited this past weekend, quote, production issues as the main culprit. The rings were supposed to be distributed on June 6th. The event was postponed due to production issues. Now, these production issues, after I did a little bit of digging, revealed that jeweler Jostin, who was the designer of 38 of the past 59 Super Bowl rings, is simply delayed and is unable to have every single player's ring ready for the original June 6th deadline. Also, quick PSA, we are 244 subscribers away from giving the signed Kyle Schwarber bat to one of you, thanks to our friends at Legends. If you're not subscribed yet, 47% of you guys, or I think 42% who watch this show aren't subscribed. I want to give this away as soon as we hit 97,000 subscribers, maybe this week. Hit the red button down below. Honestly, delaying rings, it's not that big of a deal. They're going to get them this month, but all this does make me wonder if Philadelphia is going with something a little bit more unique for this year's Super Bowl ring than all the mock-ups you see going around on Facebook showing 2 Lombardi trophies and simply the Birds logo. I mean, last year, the Chiefs ring, their 4th in the collection, was a more pointy kind of arrow shape, which was great, and then their previous one, 2 years prior, could actually open up and reveal a mock-up of Arrowhead Stadium. Pretty unique. Either way, having rings delayed is always a good thing because it means you actually won a ring and so you're waiting to receive it, something the rest of the league, and especially the NFC East, besides Philadelphia, knows nothing about in recent history. Now moving over to some actual good news, and we got our first actual workout video from Eagles linebacker Jihaad Campbell shot over the weekend, showcasing his offseason training routine to get ready for training camp just 15 days from today. Well, of course, this is just 30 seconds. It doesn't look like much. Remembering how far Campbell has come since draft night really puts this video into perspective. I mean, Campbell was a top prospect heading into the draft, but then underwent offseason surgery on his torn labrum, while also reportedly dealing with some knee issues that some NFL teams feared could become degenerative, leading possibly to his fall to 31 in an NFL draft where most franchises considered him at least a top 15 pick. And despite the Eagles assuring us right after the draft that Campbell would be fine, rumors of the rookie being unable to go week 1 prevailed nearly all offseason long. And then when asked about it, defensive coordinator in his always honest fashion kind of let slip the target goal was sometime in August for him to get back on the football field, which again pushed his start date back even further. But now this new workout video not only shows Campbell's knees apparently to be really in full go, along with his shoulders as well, pumping the arms right there looks pretty good, but you pair this video with the fact that Campbell did participate in some drills during minicamp, fans like me are obviously pretty excited about the potential to be fully healthy for not just week 1 of the regular season, but day 1 of training camp later this month. Also, my dogs and I wanted to give a massive shout out to the sponsor of this video, Bark. Bark is the leading dog-first company delivering monthly themed boxes to your pups packed with high-quality toys, treats, and experiences. And each of these boxes are actually designed in-house and inspired by monthly themes. They sent our Goldens the Knights of Namor themed boxes, which have this hilarious medieval theme and come in 2 different varieties. The original Bark box, which has 3 plush toys, and the Super Chewer line, which is made for dogs like Blue, who are literally trying to destroy every single toy he gets. Although honestly, these 2 dogs seem to love the fact they were just getting new toys, regardless if they were in plush or Super Chewer form. Plus, because Blue and Ember are golden retrievers, once they realized treats were involved as well, they absolutely had to try each and every one, and I think Blue's drool should tell you how much he loved them. And while, of course, the dogs, they might not realize it, we love the fact that all of Bark's treats are made either in the USA or Canada and contain no wheat, corn, or soy. I'll be honest, I haven't bought our dogs a new toy in a very long time. Theirs are starting to get a little bit old and worn, and so it was very fun to open up the Bark box with them and see just how excited they were to have something new to play with. They absolutely loved it. And right now, BarkBox is offering an exclusive sign-up deal that gets you an extra free toy in every single box for a year. So that's 3 toys and 2 bags of treats, which, again, you see our BarkBox here. These are nearly empty and have been played with a bunch each month at no additional cost. Just scan the QR code, should be right over here on your screen somewhere right down there, or go to the link in my description box to go ahead and get started. Trust me, your dogs are going to love it. I mean, we must remember Nakobe Dean won't be ready in 2 weeks and is pushing to hopefully be ready by the first quarter of the season. So if Campbell gets a full training camp to learn the position, he's going to be a real threat to not only start week 1, but contribute in a major way for the 2025 Birds. I mean, Philadelphia has proven as of last year, they can take rookie defensive players and turn them into instant impact players. If if they get, again, instant impact from Jihaad Campbell after all the offseason speculation of an injury slowing him down, boy, Vic Fangio, Howie Roseman, they're going to look like absolute geniuses. Now, also spotted working out over the weekend was Eagles edge rusher Nolan Smith and new, or perhaps old-timer, Patrick Johnson, as the latter might be the one offseason addition that every Birds fan has completely forgotten about. You might have forgotten, but last year during training camp, Patrick Johnson was one of the standout players in 2024. He had a really impressive preseason, and I thought was guaranteed to actually make the roster, and maybe this was finally the time for the 7th-round draft pick in 2021 to contribute in a meaningful way in Philadelphia. However, he then hovered around the practice squad last year, and then eventually got stolen off the practice squad by the New York Giants, where he played 12 games for them, but mostly on special teams. Now he's back in Philadelphia, and while he's an extreme long shot to actually make the roster, obviously because they signed free agents around him in the same position, like Josh Uche and Azeez Ojulari. However, the Eagles' former 7th rounder said earlier this summer that he understands this is his last and probably best shot at actually making the team and contributing. Saying, quote, just knowing that this will probably be my best opportunity to really make a huge impact in my own career and also for the team. Just looking forward to coming back, and it was a pretty easy transition, just knowing that I'm loved here by a lot of people. Patrick Johnson has the tools to be a good pass rusher in the National Football League. A superstar? No, but he can definitely contribute, similar to the way that Thomas Booker did last year, a guy who barely made the roster, didn't play a ton, but did make impact plays from time to time, and obviously could be called upon if an injury were to happen. Johnson's problem is it's a very crowded group, as we talked about, at edge rusher, but I'm going to keep my eye on him during training camp because anyone can flourish at any time, and again, he has the tools to actually be a big contributor. Now, moving over to other, I guess now former Eagles edge rushers, and people are all upset on Twitter about Bryce Huff this past weekend for this viral clip on the SF Niners channel where he admitted he wanted out of Philadelphia early on in the 2024 season.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if I'm being 100% honest with you, I wanted to trade fairly early on, and just because of how things went in Philly, I knew pretty early on that it wasn't a fit. But being a signing of that magnitude, being undrafted and going and getting that contract and being in Philly, the expectations are at an all-time high. So I knew a trade wasn't going to happen during the season. But I had just kind of talked to my agent about it. I was like, yeah, when it's all said and done, I might need to step, just to be able to put myself in the best position to ball out and have a fruitful career. And there's a plethora of things that went down. I don't want to get into specifics, but
of course,
I being in the league for five years last year. I'm going into my 6th right now, but being in the league for 5 years, I kind of knew what it felt like for me to be to be in a good situation, and that's just what I was like. Yeah, I gotta look out for myself and do what I think is best. So, I mean, I kind of knew where it was headed, fairly early on into the season, but probably even training camp, if I'm being honest with you. But so when everything kind of popped off, it was just yeah, all right, let's get to work.
Okay, this isn't a great look, but honestly, I'm not as mad at this as some other people are. This doesn't surprise me really one bit. Hindsight being 2020, everyone could see that Huff didn't fit from literally the first few weeks of training camp. Reporters were always asking Vic Fangio why Huff wasn't starting, or why he wasn't getting run defensive reps, or heck, why was he playing as the only starter in the preseason game? Philadelphia saw their mistake from week 1 of training camp, and I think desperately tried to reconcile this to the public. They tried to make him a simple pass rush specialist only. They did everything they can for Bryce Huff to succeed. It didn't work out. He got hurt, and in the end, Howie had to move on. And we forget that Huff during this time was probably also extremely frustrated, as he did just finish as a double-digit sack specialist with the Jets and probably was just as confused as Philadelphia was as why it wasn't working out. Did he have the right attitude all the time? Probably not. That's personally on him, but I do get being frustrated. As I said in the past, Bryce Huff simply did not work, as a lot of free agents don't throughout the National Football League. Was it his attitude? Was it the style, the scheme, Vic Fangio? Who knows? What I do know is that we're going to really find out if Bryce Huff is still a good player this year in San Francisco. He has the defensive coordinator, the head coach that he was under. The scheme reportedly is what he wants, but the good news is that Philadelphia, even though they did make a mistake, Howie's not infallible, they were able to correct those mistakes, still actually have a loaded pass rush depth chart despite giving all that money to Huff and it not paying off. Now, speaking of paying off and moving on to people who have actually enjoyed their offseason so far, how about Nick Sirianni spotted at the Phillies game over the 4th of July weekend, sporting once again his legendary shaved head, which some of you fans might have forgotten, but Nick Sirianni shaved his head during the bye week following the Birds' underwhelming 2-2 start. Philadelphia would then rattle off 10 straight wins and only lose one game the entire rest of the year en route to a Super Bowl. And while I'm sure shaved heads had little to do with the on-the-field performance of the Birds themselves, but many saw this as an indication of a new Nick Sirianni, one who stopped caring about what the media and fans like me thought of him and became unapologetically himself, with his goofy side moments, quirky sayings, and most importantly, bold play calls. For what it's worth, the team really seemed to embrace this version of Nick Sirianni. That showcased itself, perhaps best of all, with the overruling of the play call in the Super Bowl that would now go down as one of the most important plays in Eagle history, aka the dagger.
Just call it. Just call it.
We're going to run some clock, or maybe just throw the dagger.
Now, you might be arguing, Thomas, if Nick Sirianni shaving his head is the secret sauce to getting the Birds back on path, why would he do it during the offseason? And again, we're joking here, but maybe he did it now, that way the hair can grow out for the start of the season, the way it's ready to be cut back to the bald, shaved look if Philadelphia were to have some struggles. Not saying that they will, but as we've mentioned, the schedule is tough, and so we might need a shaved head Nick Sirianni at some point this season, and he's just getting ahead of the game, the way it's perfect hair shaving time whenever we get to that point. Now, all joking aside, one thing is for sure, Nick Sirianni remains one of the most underrated coaches in the NFL, even after winning a Super Bowl a few months prior. With PFF recently ranking Nick Sirianni as the 8th best coach in the entire league, behind coaches without a Super Bowl victory in Kyle Shanahan and Jim Harbaugh, and other coaches who haven't even been to a Super Bowl in over a decade: Mike Tomlin, John Harbaugh, and Sean Payton. And right now, in the history of head coaches in both the regular season plus the playoffs since 1976, only John Madden has a better winning percentage. I think time will tell what the 2025 post-Super Bowl victory version of head coach will actually look like. Yes, Philadelphia will have their ups and downs this year. They're not going to win every single game. But going into this season versus last, my trust level in the Birds head coach has never been higher. And we have plenty more stuff happening the next couple of days and weeks. Be sure to subscribe. I keep saying this. I think we're going to get to 97,000 subs soon, and then we don't week after week. But so we hit 97K. That was kind of my promise from you guys from the start here. We'll give the Kyle Schwarber bat away, and that gets us closer to 100,000 subs. We're going to give away some signed helmets and jerseys and a whole bunch of other fun things. So let's get to 97,000 this week. Hopefully one of you guys can help me get there, and then one of you guys can win it as well. I'm Thomas Mott, hanging out here on a Monday. Hope you guys had a healthy, happy, and safe 4th of July. This has been the Thomas Mott Show.